Hello, explorers, and welcome to episode 32. As always, I'm joined by Taylor and Jimmy, and today we have a special guest, Christopher from Seriously Star Wars, whose trials are harder than the Jedi trials themselves.
Yeah.
Cool, happy days. Chris, if you just want to introduce yourself, mate, and where people can find you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm Chris from Seriously Star Wars. I do weekly Star Wars reviews on my channel, and then every weekend I try and do them Saturdays, but sometimes Sundays, depending on where my guest is. I do Star Wars trivia, like Jack mentioned. It's a Star Wars fan battle. It's live, and we go head to head with another Star Wars content creator, and it's usually a good time. It's quite the learning experience, if anything, and I have both Jack and Jimmy coming on episodes in January, so looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing how you guys do. So
Yeah,
that'll be fun. But yeah, that's myself and my channel there. So
awesome.
feel free to check it out.
Happy days. And if you can see on YouTube as well, okay, every time we have a special guest, their collection is getting bigger and bigger. And as you can see with Chris's collection, it's the biggest one I think we've had on yet, beating
Oh yeah,
Brando's.
that's sweet.
It's a nice, impressive collection.
Yeah,
So, let's
yeah.
start with you.
Slowly running out of space. So.
Yeah. Let's start with you, Taylor. How's your week been?
It's been a really good week. We got a little bit of snow yesterday, but then it didn't stay overnight. And just been reading a lot of the Eye of Darkness and the new High Republic Encyclopedia, which, oh my gosh, I love it. I've been whipping through it, like just not even like in order, like back and forth, because I actually want to know what people look like and stuff. And yeah, so
Does it
been
make you
loving
mad that
that.
some of them don't have photos?
Yeah.
Yes, because
I
I
was like, what
like
the heck?
I know, and like some of them are just weird species, like weird like alien species, and they're describing them like, oh, these big pincer claws with these big eyeballs and four whatevers, and I'm like, I just can't picture this person besides a giant cockroach or something. So I want to see what these people look like. So, but yeah, I'm loving the book so far, and I'm sure you guys are too, because you guys have the encyclopedia as well. Hey, yeah, that's been my week. What about you guys?
Yeah, not too bad. Last week of school coming up. Last week was pretty hectic.
Ooh.
So things are kind of school's winding down, which is a nightmare with students and parents. And then, of course, the holidays are heating up. So this is always kind of a tumultuous time. But we'll get through it, and then we'll head home to Pennsylvania to see my family, and then take the girls to New York City. So we're pretty excited for that. How about you, Jack?
I am stiff as a board. Did a bit of American football yesterday with Leicester Panthers, so big shout out to them. Hopefully get them on board the podcast as well. It was
Awesome.
good, but I think at some stages I was like Jar Jar Binks, with those electric balls where he was juggling them. Yeah, I definitely dropped more than I caught, I think. But yeah, no, it was all good. I had a good time. Almost finished Path for Vengeance audiobook. I know I've been on it for absolutely ages because I'm struggling to get into this High Republic still.
It is a
I'm at,
slower book, that one.
it is. I'm at the bit now where they've just come off the planet from escaping from them two spider beasts. Is what I had in my head, and like a horse beast thing. I think it was. I don't know. But yeah, that's where we're at. Yeah.
Awesome.
What about you, Chris? How's your week?
It's been a busy week. Like I'm always I'm always picking some new stuff up for the collection. So I'm a big Funko Pop collector. It looks like Jimmy might have a few Funko Pops behind him. So
Just a few.
he might.
Oh yeah,
just a few.
about 400 or so.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm in the same boat. I got 400 behind me on this side here. So yeah,
Those are awesome.
I'm always picking stuff up. So I picked up the Battle Damage Vader there. So
Nice.
that one I got on Facebook
Ooh.
Marketplace. So
Nice.
yeah,
Very
so
Oh.
and then I got a few from the new Mando wave. So I got Peli Motto and I got Grogu and the Phantom there. So yeah, so
Awesome.
excited about that stuff. Yeah, I'm just keeping busy putting out videos. So
Good man. Good man.
Yeah.
I think if
grinding, always
Brandalorian's listening in, he'll be dropping you a message about Funkos. He's got a nice sweet collection as well of
Oh, nice.
the Funko Pops. Again, just welcoming Chris. Thank you for your time. Super appreciate to joining us on our Gaze Eccentric as well. We've got a few new people that have joined the page. Okay, so a big shout out to Darren Thorndick Adam Milgrub and Nick Jenkinson. Welcome aboard as always.
Welcome
Again, feel
aboard.
free to drop comments, pictures, and all the good stuff on the social medias. Right, before anything else then, let's head into our Force Encounters for the week. Okay then, so starting us off with Force Encounters, let's go for Jimmy.
All right. So I had a pretty chill week this week. Obviously, we're really busy. A couple meets. But I did have, we sat down. When we moved, I took all my Legos apart, put them in bags, and then when I get to them, I put them back together. So my wife and I built the AT-AT or the AT-AT. I don't want to make anybody mad, so I'll give it both versions of it. So we built that one, not that UCS one. This is the one that they re-released, the Empire Strikes Back, like 40th anniversary one. But it's such a fun build. Did that, and then a few years ago, my wife stole my Star Wars jammy pants. And she just walked down here, and a package was delivered. And I got new Star Wars jammy pants, so that was my Force Encounters for the week.
That is the best.
So,
Absolutely love it.
right.
What about you, Taylor? What have you got?
My Force Encounter this week, it was actually the Christmas party at the Greater Vancouver Zoo, which is where I work. And I got pulled up in front of everybody, and I got the Employee of the Year award at the zoo. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I just had to flaunt that one, guys. I'm the best train driver in the
Absolutely.
galaxy. But when I opened my little gift card, I opened it up and there was this little sticky note and it says, "For your love of Star Wars, congratulations." And it's a $50 gift card to Toy Traders in Langley, which is where they sell comic books and figures and pop vinyls, everything. So, and then there was a whole bunch of other cash in the envelope too. So it's just like, yes! And then I go to give my boss, who I call Jerry on the show, a hug. And he was like, "Oh, I'm not a hugger." So it was awkward. But I'm super excited to go and pick up some stuff from Toy Traders. Yay! So
Very cool. That's awesome,
yeah.
Taylor.
Yeah, I know Toy Traders. I used to live out in Abbotsford.
Really?
While,
Yeah. I just live over in Mission. So it's like a half.
Wow, yeah.
So it's like, I guess it'd be like a 45-minute drive over to Toy Traders. But I like my drives because then that's when I listen to, our podcast, and I find out that Jimmy forgets to put our audio on or something. So it's good.
Nice. Chris, you got any Force Encounters this week?
Yeah, so last week we had our because I'm sure you all must remember the Fan Force page, like the forums from back in the day.
Yeah.
So we still have our little Fan Force group here in Edmonton, and we had our little Christmas dinner, and we did like the gift exchange, whatever, like they call it, like the white elephant, cool, where you do like the mystery gift and stuff.
Yeah.
I heard it called somewhere else. I heard it's called something else in the States. Like
we call it Dirty Santa sometimes.
Yeah, or something Yankee gift exchange or something.
Yeah.
It
really just depends on.
Depends on the person. Yeah, but I got a couple cool gifts from that, and yeah, it was nice hanging out and talking Star Wars with some local fans here. So yeah, it was fun times.
Oh, that's great.
Nice, happy days. Okay, so next then we're going to head over to Batu now then and see what news that we've got coming in.
All right. First up, for anyone who still plays Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, which I have not been able to get into, a new character has been released. Grogu's own personal hero, Kelleran Beck. He will be wielding double lightsabers and have some Force abilities to help your team defeat the Empire or the First Order or the Nihil. I don't know who all is in that game.
Nihil's even in it?
I've tried playing it. I don't know if you guys played or not, but that's kind of. I love the love that Ahmed Best is getting for this character. He deserves it. And it's good to see that going into that game and just kind of building up his his story. That's awesome. So
yeah, I love that game. I've been playing that game since launch.
Really?
Literally,
for real?
Religiously, nearly every day. I very rarely miss a day of playing it.
Really? Maybe I need to play it. It's just on your phone, right?
Yeah, I tried it and I just couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't get into it either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Ty Yorick, Saber for Hire, is set to return in the Dark Horse comic, the High Republic Adventure series. She will be getting a 4-issue miniseries dealing with her time stuck behind the dreaded Nile storm wall. She will have her apprentice. Ooh, she has an apprentice and might just become that hero we all know she is. To see the cover and for more information, check out starwars.com. Oh man, Ty York is my girl. I love her, as you guys know from the Bounty Hunter episode that we had. But she was a Jedi Padawan that left the Order. Yeah, and now she's like a monster hunter, and she still has her lightsaber, which she's like changed and modified to have the cool spikes on it and stuff. And she was in not Fallen Star. Which one?
Rising
The
Storm.
Rising Storm. Yeah, she was in the Rising Storm, and she's got her own comic and now there's more coming out. Awesome.
I didn't realise she had an apprentice. Is that a new thing now for the comic?
It's going to be a new thing because
Yes.
I haven't seen this. I haven't heard
I
of
think
her.
she had an apprentice.
During the Phase 2 High Republic, the short 4-run miniseries about the Nameless.
Yeah.
She's telling the story about the Nameless.
Yeah.
That they've passed on, and then that her little story is that she's going to meet that character from her first run comics, and like they kind of pick up there, and they kind of leave it hanging. But I guess that news kind of ruins it. Yes, she took a Padawan.
That's okay. I'm like halfway through that. I got the volume, so I've got the Nameless one, and then it's like her getting a story told to her by a droid or something. So
she's got purple lightsaber as well, hasn't she?
Yeah, she does. And then she has like the missing tendril or whatever. So
yeah. Speaking of purple lightsabers, another fan favorite, Mace Windu, on August the 6th, 2024. Himself and his iconic purple lightsaber is going to be going on one last adventure. Hopefully not. Steve Barnes was taped to write the Star Wars series, The Glass Abyss set, and it's literally just after the events of losing Qui-Gon Jinn, where he heads out onto an adventure on a new planet called Metagos, which is overrun by crime, which was once a beautiful planet, is now the seed for this mystery to unfold. The artwork looks amazing. We need to see more of Mace Windu because we know he is a badass. So hopefully, like I said, it's not the last one. I'll be definitely picking this up, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he gets up to out there. Steve Barnes also had this to say about The Glass Abyss. At all times, I remembered there was one goal in writing such a book. It's basically to be true to the mythos and thrill the fans, to give them fun, suspense, and heart-stopping action they've come to expect from our greatest mythologies, and create more of an inner world for one of the most powerful Jedi in the galaxy. He says he can't wait to share The Glass Abyss with the fans, and he can't even wait to read it himself. Really, really looking forward to it. Sounds like he knows what he's doing and what he wants to do in terms of his delivering to the fans as well. So yeah, can't wait for that one.
Oh, it's going to be so good.
Yeah.
He was actually writing, if you read the full article, he was actually writing some sci-fi TV shows. The guy has like 30 different shows to his name. He's written for Legends. He's written a book in Legends. I can't remember what the name of it's called. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for this book. I'm not a huge Mace Windu fan, but this will be kind of fun.
Yeah.
So what about you, Chris? You read a lot of the stuff in High Republic and everything, and
I haven't dived into the High Republic stuff yet, but no, I'm a big huge Mace Windu fan, so I think he's still gonna show up in maybe the Book of Boba Fett season 2 or something. Like I think he's still alive.
Yeah,
I'm in that camp. I don't know about you guys.
Nah, I think he got yeeted way too far out. He's done.
You think so?
Yeah, he's
I don't know. I mean, he's one of the most powerful Jedi there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think he could have done something to stop his.
Yeah, right. And only like 150 years in like the past, Jedi are literally pushing their Padawans out of their ships to like train them how to stop from falling. So it doesn't actually, it wouldn't be that surprising if Mace knew how to like prevent his fall a little bit, right? Like, I don't know.
I'd like to see it.
I feel like just
to see where he goes to.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I feel like if Samuel L. Jackson was younger, he may have survived the fall.
Right.
Like, not realistically, but like if the actor
Yeah.
was younger and they could bring him back for it. Because I
Yeah.
mean, you can't have someone else going in there and playing Samuel L. Jackson. I don't think
I don't
so.
think he would let
But
anyone.
And I don't think he'd
no.
be the type of character either that would. I don't think he'd go into isolation either. Mace Windu. He'd definitely be back with a
Yeah.
vengeance. So you'd hear of him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. And finally, coming out of Hollywood, we got some rumors, and this one I think we'll be able to talk about a little bit. That Mando season 4 might actually be replaced by a Mandalorian movie instead. So instead of getting season 4 of The
Yes.
Mandalorian, we might be getting a Mandalorian movie. This is set to release before Daisy Ridley's film, which is now
Ah!
slated to start filming in the summer of 2024. It was earlier. We reported on some rumors and things like that it was going to be April. Now it's been pushed to the summer. The rumors state that because of upheaval due to the writers and actors strike, that things have been reworked and a new timeline of movies could be released. These rumors have me asking a lot of questions. First one was, huh? And then
What?
I said, is it? This is what? This is not the big climax movie though, right? This is going to be just Mando season 4 put into a movie.
Mm,
Or do we think this is like Dave Filoni? Because this is all about Jon Favreau, I think.
Yeah,
What do you guys think about that?
John Favreau likes films, but like I thought we were getting this big Mandoverse movie by Dave Filoni, which is supposed to be like, oh, first film in like back in theaters, like. But then they're like, oh no, we're just gonna make Mandalorian season 4 in theaters, and then also the Mando movie in theaters, like, or maybe they're combining the movies. I don't know.
yeah. I
I think
think
it's a weird move.
whatever they do with it, do not rush it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
I'd
not
rather
rush
wait
it.
a bit longer for it to be amazing for years to come and not rush it quickly so that we can watch it once and be like, nah, it's not something I'll watch
Yeah,
again.
100%. What do you reckon, Chris?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be two separate films. Like I think they're still gonna do like the big um, culmination of all this
Yeah.
Filoni-verse stuff in one movie later on. But I think this will just be like maybe Mando and Grogu on their adventures, and maybe we'll see Ahsoka come back in this movie then, because I thought maybe Ahsoka and Sabine would return maybe in like Mando season 4 or even the Skeleton Crew. But if they're doing this movie, maybe that gives them a little more time to maybe revisit that. So
Yeah. Do you think? And then my other question too is then, it seems like obviously we never know what's actually happening, and they weren't on. Favreau's not on strike as a producer and a director and content creator. He's probably still able to talk. Is this just reaction, trying to get something out quicker? Is it? I mean, because there's a lot of things too. Because like they spend a lot of money on these episodes, so is it cheaper to make a 2-hour film than 8 episodes of Mandalorian season 4? And is this just coming straight to Disney Plus, or is it going to be a theater? There's a lot of questions I think that are raised. The rumors don't have a lot of information in them, but I'm kind of curious to some of this stuff to work itself out and for us to find out.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I see it could be like a in reaction to the strike, and now they don't have as much time to get season 4 out before stuff like the Thrawn movie or whatever, like the Dave Filoni movie. So it's probably easier to do a 2-hour movie, like to film it all at once, right, and get all that done rather than do the whole TV show shooting schedule, right, over however
you would
long
think.
that takes. So
It's whatever's going to make them the most money.
Actually, that
Yeah.
might make sense if Pedro Pascal is busy doing other productions. It might be easier to get him in just to do filming for like just sound over whatever for a movie. Yeah. Instead of having to have him back for all the different episodes. So it might be like, hey, we either get Pedro or we don't.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they see the ending of season 2 Mandalorian was amazing. Bawling, crying, whoa, it's so good. Then I would expect the Mando movie. Bam, so good. The Mandalorian season 4 coming after season 3 that wasn't really wrapped around Mando and Din, like kind of, I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. Obviously, I'm going to watch it, but
Yeah, I know. We get in there like, well,
well,
be
we
there.
hate the idea, but of course we're going to watch it and love it still.
Yeah. And the last bit of news as well that we've got is a dirty rumor that Andor season 2 is delayed as well to 2025.
I
Uh,
know. Ugh.
so yeah, bit of a bummer,
Yeah,
but again, I'm looking forward to that. I do love Andor. What about you, Chris? Do you like Andor?
Yeah, I enjoyed Andor. I know a lot of people thought it was pretty boring just because of the slower pace, but like I liked the structure. Like they had like 3-4 episodes per kind of mini story, like with each location. So like they were on
Mhm.
Aldani for like 3 or 4 episodes. They were in the prison for another three. So I like that structure. I'm looking forward to Andor coming back, and hopefully season 2 we get some K2SO.
Nice.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Oh, you know we are. They can't
Yeah.
just
Cool.
not.
Okay, so for the main part of the show this week, then we are going to be looking at what if scenarios. So as always, we posted out on socials. Everybody is what if or what you'd like to have seen or questions. What if this had happened, etc. Again, we had hundreds of feedback and comments. So again, thank you to everybody for posting and DMing us, inboxing us, and emailing us. We've managed to whittle it down to the lucky few. So just starting us off, then we've got Luke S. His first one is: what if Order 66 did not work, and what if the clones aligned with the Jedi? I think for me that would make a very short saga completely. Um,
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be as exciting either. If I'm honest, it definitely wouldn't give you. I say you. It wouldn't give the fans, us fans, as much PTSD. Um, I think the what if from that would be what would Anakin still have killed all those younglings? But yeah,
Just for
interesting,
fun.
interesting scenario. The next one we'll go into a bit of detail, because I think it's quite a really good one. Is our friend Swinny, and he said, "What if C-3PO and R2-D2 remember everything from the prequels when they met Luke in A New Hope? Who's to say that they don't remember everything and they're just not saying anything
Mhm.
because they're not asked the right questions?"
Yeah. With this
Yeah.
one,
What?
honestly, so I actually really put a lot of thought into all of these, but this one, um, I just thought when we meet Luke on Tatooine, he is bored and he's a young guy who wants to go out and do something and he wants to have adventure. He's sick of working on this moisture farm, right? So I feel like if these droids came out of somewhere and were like, "Hey, your dad was like the chosen one and there was this huge war and now he's on this side and blah blah," I think Luke would have just taken the opportunity to find adventure, and I think he would have just jumped at this and sought out his father. I don't think he would have learned the ways of the Force in the way that he really needed to. This organic, like slow learning the basics of everything before he gets hit with this big emotional drop, like, "Oh, your dad is, Darth Vader." So I feel like without learning everything in the order that he did, he probably would have jumped straight to the dark side because he is emotional and whiny. We know that. So
Nice. What do you think, Chris?
So I think R2D2 already remembers everything because we know from Revenge of the Sith that C-3PO had his mind wiped, right? But
yeah.
I don't think they wiped R2, so I think he remembers everything. But if they actually remembered stuff and told Luke all that stuff, yeah, I think things would turn out differently. I don't know if Luke would actually want to go off on this big adventure anymore, right? Like what's making him want to leave Tatooine now if he finds out, hey, my father's this big a hole, pretty much, and like would he still want to go out there and even join the Imperial Academy like he wanted to, and
Yeah,
yeah.
it would definitely change him for sure.
yeah, good points, Jimmy.
Yeah, I kind of fall in line with Taylor a little bit on this one. I do think that he may have sought out his dad right off the bat, maybe. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, it depends on. But yeah, I think R2 still has everything. I think he. I don't think we've never seen or read that he had his memory wiped. Is there a protocol like C-3PO had in the Rise of Skywalker where he wasn't allowed to read the Sith language, that
Yeah,
plot armor? So, but yeah, I think Taylor has a pretty good one with that idea. Kind of changes his trajectory completely, and He wants to go
Yeah.
find his dad, and who knows?
I just
They
see
rule
him.
a galaxy. His
Yeah,
father and
I
his
can just
son.
see him being like to his aunt and uncle, you lied to me? Why would you lie to me?" And then it'd be like a big argument and they just leave and it's not like, I don't know. Definitely would have been different.
Nice. What else we got, Jimmy?
All right, from Anakin C. He asked, "What if Luke Skywalker survived the Battle of Crate?" And then he says, "Would the rise of Skywalker and the Battle of Exegol, how would have that been different?" So Luke doesn't, he force projects himself obviously, and that effort ends him. What does it look like? What does the rise of Skywalker look like if Skywalker is still there?
A lot more
What do you got?
disguises.
A lot more disguises.
That's what they always do. They always dress up in a disguise.
No.
Mind games. There'd be lots of tricks and mind games in it. That's what Luke
I'd have
likes to
liked to
do.
have seen it. I'd have liked to have seen it where Ray goes to Exegol, confronts the Emperor, Carlo's fully turned, and it'd been like Ray versus Carlo, Luke versus the Emperor.
Yes.
Oh,
That'd be
Yeah,
that'd be all
I agree
right.
with Jack. Yeah.
That had been sick. Like Ray's getting beaten to the ground by both Carlo and the Emperor, and then again, I love the Avengers stuff. It's like they're not alone.
yeah.
He comes out of nowhere and he's like, she's not alone, and then lightsaber up, and then they're off.
And the oldies are doing their slow motion fight like in A New Hope.
Yes. Clash.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
Had they gone that, yeah, had they gone that route, maybe the Battle of Exegol might not have happened. Maybe it would have just been Supreme Leader Kylo Ren,
oh
right? And it would have been him versus Rey, and maybe he was too powerful for Rey, and then it could have been Luke versus Kylo.
yeah,
Or
that's true.
yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Or my preferred situation would have been Kylo kills Ray, Luke kills the Emperor, and then Kylo gets away, ready for the next film.
Yeah.
Mm.
That'd be all right too. Yeah. Um. Yeah, those are all really good. Jake, he's got a good one here, and this one I've often thought about. What if Obi-Wan had left the Order and married Satine? So I have always thought about this one. You get those episodes they
Mm-hmm.
build in there, and smartly build these episodes in so you can kind of see why Obi-Wan lets Anakin do what he's doing with Padme, because he understands it, but he also thinks
Yeah.
that he'll eventually probably do the same thing he did and do the right thing. But yeah, I think this would have been really cool. I still think that one kid might. I always wanted Ray to be a descendant of Kenobi and Satine, but
Yeah.
this would have been. You think of the outcome, the Night of 1,000 Tears, and laying
Mm.
waste to that city. Does that happen if you have a Jedi on your side the full time? To Satine, the whole thing
But
with
he would
Maul and
have
Satine, like that doesn't change.
but he would have left the order, so he wouldn't be standing beside her as a Jedi. He'd be standing beside her. So if you think about it, okay, if they both, Satine and Obi-Wan, ran away together and they both didn't have these commitments to their lives, then I think they would be okay. They could just take off, go to the Outer Rim, do something. But if Satine stayed as the ruler of Mandalore, the Mandalorians are just constantly in war, and I think the past would come back to bite Obi-Wan. I think regardless, if he would have stayed on Mandalore with her to be either he left the order or he's staying to be whatever, a gray Jedi, I don't know. I feel like war would still break out on Mandalore and Obi-Wan would still have to pull out his lightsaber from like his hidden box in the back and then blah blah. And also, we know that Obi-Wan doesn't like politicians, so that would just be an immediate divorce at one point. So
Yeah.
anyways, but yeah, I think if they both ran, then it would be okay. But if only Obi-Wan left the order, then it wouldn't.
Would have definitely had baby Kenobis, which would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
More
Oh.
more sensitive Mandalorians.
There we
Oh.
go, Chris. Nice. But then would they have all died in the bombing?
Obi-Wan could have sensed it coming. Maybe
Good
they'd all
shout.
go
Yeah.
underground more. Oh.
Cool. What else we got, Taylor?
We have a question from Alex J, who said, Jessup, what if Yoda hadn't allowed Anakin to be trained as a Jedi? This would have led to Anakin. Would this have led to Anakin and Maul having a showdown for Palpatine to take on one of them as an apprentice? I don't think so, Alex. I think that if the council had said, like, no, he's not going to be a Jedi, you cannot train him, I think that Qui-Gon would have left the order to train him. Because Qui-Gon, his beliefs are so strong. And he already doubts the council a little bit. And he really believes in these prophecies. So I actually believe that Qui-Gon would have left the order and he would have trained Anakin himself. And then they would have been almost like gray Jedis, if that's even like a thing. Because they wouldn't be part of the Jedi Order. But I feel like Qui-Gon would still be teaching Anakin about like the cosmic force and the living force. So I feel like it still would have been a better outcome.
I'm with you on that one, Taylor. And if that had happened, then what would be the what if from that? As in, Qui-Gon would never have battled Darth Maul. Would Anakin have then turned to the dark side? And it just goes on and on.
Yeah,
What do you
like
think
there's
about
no way
that,
they
Chris?
would have left him. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like, I think Anakin and Qui-Gon would have been almost like a Balin and Shin kind of dynamic, like kind of roaming the galaxy, doing their own thing, and learning from Qui-Gon, right? So, but yeah, no, like that. Then who goes to Naboo, right? Who ends up going to Naboo and fighting Maul, right? Because there's still that threat. So, would it be Obi-Wan going with somebody else, or do they send another master apprentice pair to go fight Maul?
Caleb Doom and his master, maybe.
Right?
Yeah, probably.
I mean,
oh man, then we would have like a Kanan.
Caleb would be pretty
I'd like
young
to
at the
Mace
time, though,
Windu.
wouldn't he?
Yeah, it would have been Caleb Doom, right?
Yeah, he would have been pretty young at the time, I think.
Oh yeah,
if Mace Windu,
Yeah.
Mace Windu, and he'd be like, "Sit down, princess."
100%. What do you think about it, Jimmy?
I think that you had to sit there and you had to look at like all these rumors with like in the comic books where people are saying that Palpatine helped create Anakin and all this stuff. I think if that happens, Qui-Gon and Anakin go off by themselves. I don't think that Qui-Gon would have been able to beat Palpatine. So I think Sidious shows up, takes him out, and then he trains Anakin and Maul together, and then lets those two duke it out for to be his apprentice and eventually wipe him out. And then I don't know, that's just kind of off the top of my head, but I think that it would have gotten him away from the Jedi Order, and it would have made him easy pickings for Darth Sidious to go get him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Nice. Next up, we've got from Sean Hudson. Then he said, "What if Chewie spoke perfect English?" For me, it'd take it away from the film because I think, like the droids, we all sort of have it in our heads what they've said. I think that's the beauty of it. So you're sort of imagining what they're saying, so to speak. Why would it be English as well? What about I don't know, an Italian accent or I don't know, French accent?
I feel like
Or
he would have
even
been
Canadian.
German.
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 German Wookiee. That would have been absolutely awesome.
Or
It
Russian.
would just be weird. It would just be weird
it'd
hearing
people
him.
out, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I think about
they had what's his name now? I can't even think of his name. Who played Chewbacca now?
Peter Mayhew.
Yeah, Peter Mayhew. If they had him just use his voice as the voice of Chewbacca, just this British voice, right? Like
soft-spoken British guy.
Yeah,
that's
what the Wookiees sound like. Okay, we're going with it.
yeah. I'd have been happy with a German accent as someone's getting their arms ripped off. That'd been quite funny.
It's crazy. It's crazy though how like that changes a character completely because you think about like Solo, the white worm pops up, and then she has that crazy old lady. If she would have had like a guttural kind of, like Jabba hat or something like that movie starts out better, and I'm not left defending it on my own.
Yeah. Shout out to Lady Proxima though. She was in the Midnight Horizons book, the High Republic book, because those worms live for hundreds of years. So that was cool too.
Next one that he mentioned, which is pretty good as well, is what if Padme hadn't died in childbirth and the twins had also survived? What would have happened then?
Okay, I've got to
that'd make very interesting storylines. I don't think we'd have visited Tatooine, obviously.
No,
but I still think the movies could have been completed. I think just a bit more organised, maybe. Maybe if I don't know, Leia was under attack and then Luke flies in with the ship to help out. Maybe I don't know.
So if Padme hadn't, or wait, are we talking? Okay, Padme hadn't died in childbirth, and if the kids had lived, if the
Yeah.
twins had lived, I think the Jedi Council would have still taken them away from her
That
to
was going to be my
protect
next
them.
question, though. Do you think Padme would have let the Jedi take them, having seen
No.
what happened to Anakin?
So exactly, she would have found out what happened to Anakin. She's confused because she wants to obviously be on her husband or boyfriend, whatever he is at that time. Yeah, husband side. She wants to be on his side, and she loves him, and she's like carrying his babies, and she's super confused because he's saying one thing, and then the Jedi Council is saying another thing. She's in the Senate hearing another thing even. So if they're like, no, no, we're taking away your babies, it's for your own good. She's like, what the hell? No, like my husband is like dead. Like this is happening. The Jedi are supposed to be traitors. I feel like they would take the babies away from her, and I think that she would go crazy, and I think that Padme would be the villain. And then I think she'd like seek out Vader, and it would just be like this whole like crazy war still. Because there's no
The
way they would
kids
have
versus
left
the
those kids
parents.
with her. Yeah, there's no way they would have left those babies with her because Vader would still come to take them, right?
What do you reckon, Jimmy?
I think they would have taken all three of them away.
Mm.
Obi-Wan, maybe a couple other because you're going to know that these kids are going to be super strong in the Force. I see a really cool movie line coming from this though. Like
Mm-hmm.
you had to reset everything obviously, but you flash forward and you've got these two, you got Luke and Leia, these twins being trained at a young age, and they're rising up as the galaxy's falling to the Empire, because that's none of that's going to change, right?
Mm.
Because he force chokes her out. She's like, hell no with that guy, right? No domestic violence here. She pieces out. She wises up. Maybe her and Kenobi, who knows? There's always that.
Ooh.
But I'd see, like, imagine the story would be really cool. Like, they train these two in secret. They get them to be all these all powerful Jedi, and then they become part of the rebellion, and then they lead a group. You could get 3 movies out of that easily.
Yeah.
As they're growing up and
Yeah.
fighting. And then they find out that Vader's their dad together or something, and you could have like one of them goes to him.
Then it's just against each other.
And,
Yeah.
and it like and that pits those two against each other. Like you could do some really cool stuff with this had they've taken those twins together and raised them, taught them to be Jedi, and that'd have been a heck of a duo too. You think of it, Leia and Luke together,
They could
training
have
from the
been.
get go.
They
I
could have
mean,
been the
that
Yeah.
small.
ones.
Think about how much, I know people don't like the Rise of Skywalker though, but like that little clip of Leia and Luke training, like that was like, oh, that idea just blew my mind. Like I was like, that would
Yeah.
be
So good.
amazing. So
I
Yeah.
just watched that scene the other day, and it's just so good. Like like you just feel this huge smile on your face, and like it's not like perfect, but so good.
What do you think, Chris?
I mean, I'm kind of on the same lines as Jimmy, but maybe instead of going with Obi-Wan, maybe she seeks refuge with Bail Organa and his family on Alderaan, right? And maybe they don't end up trained as Jedi.
oh,
Yeah, good point. Okay, next up then, we've got Clan Brandalorian. Okay, and he said, what if Obi-Wan joined Count Dooku on Genesis?
Geonosis.
Geonosis. There we go. Thank you very much, Dave. What would have happened?
I don't know. I feel like Obi-Wan would have been able to talk some sense into Dooku. Like I feel like they would have been kind of on the same page. Like they both know that the Jedi Council is kind of having issues and stuff right now. But I feel like Obi-Wan would have just been able to bring Dooku back to his feet a little bit. Like, settle down there, Tyrannus. So,
Yeah. I think Dooku's too far gone at that point, though.
yeah,
Especially after
that's
killing
true.
Yaddle.
Yes, because he had just
Yeah,
done that too.
yeah, yeah. If they didn't do the Tales of the Jedi thing where he killed Yaddle, then I would say maybe Obi-Wan could have pulled them back to the light a little bit, and they could have both been gray Jedi or whatever, like wandering Jedi. But
Mm.
yeah, no, I think they would make a pretty formidable opponent for Sidious. So if they both decided to go against Sidious, and like, because who does Sidious have at that point?
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a good point. Yeah.
Hmm.
What about you, Jimmy? Anything to add on that?
Um, I don't.
Well,
I
let's
feel
not
like
forget that Dooku also trained um,
Qui Gon.
Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon, who
Yeah.
trained Obi-Wan.
So
So,
yeah, that lineage when we talked about those,
hmm.
that family line that we talked about on a few episodes back, I think that Obi Wan would have taken him. They could have gone and almost had a, like what happens with my gosh, why can't I think of his name? Uh, the one that's Asajj Ventress, the Jedi with her falls in love.
Oh,
Voss.
Quinlan Voss.
Yeah, Quinlan Voss. So it would have had like
Yeah.
a Quinlan Voss type thing where he kind of slowly brings him back from the
Yeah.
dark side, possibly with the help of Yoda. They take him away, they keep him away. Because the Jedi are their own worst enemy, so they would not have just brought him to the council, right? They would have done something stupid and been like, you
Yeah.
go get to Yoda, they take him away. Maybe they go to Dagobah or whatever, and they kind of rehab him or something. I don't know. It's hard to
Yeah.
say that because it's, that's such a big piece in that, but that's a good question. Um, but if he had joined Dooku and just went with Dooku's plan, good lord, I have no idea. I can't see Kenobi doing that though.
No, he's too
Yeah.
good.
The next thing that you mentioned as well, and I'm going to sort of reword this, but it is a good question, and I think it all the time. What if Anakin had just done what he's told to do? Just stayed in the chambers. I still think he'd have turned to the dark side. I still think he'd have been pretty
Hmm.
upset with Mace Windu. Um, I don't think Mace Windu would have arrested Emperor Palpatine. I think he'd have killed him on the spot. But I think even that would have still turned Anakin. What do you
Yeah,
guys
because
think?
Yeah.
he didn't see what went down, and it'd still be like he'd still think that he needed him, and there would be answers not answered for Anakin, and it would just be bad.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah. I agree. I
yeah.
think yeah, he would have turned still because he even if Mace killed Palpatine, Anakin would have turned because he's like, oh well, there goes my help. Now I can't save my wife, and Mace
Yeah.
Windu is now the reason why I can't save my wife. So
Mm.
he still turns.
Next, Jimmy's got one from Mido. I'm jumping on this one a little bit because Mido's literally got the same scenario that I thought of as well. So take it away, Jimmy.
All right, Martin, the Mandalorian. He asked, "What if Yoda trained Leia instead of Luke?" So basically, if those two had been flip flopped, I guess, like they had been given, and he would have just taken Leia. They leave them where they're at, I guess, and then taken Leia from the Organas to train her. How
Yeah.
does that change things? For me personally, I think you have a situation where, kind of like what I talked about with the twins leaving, it changes the whole storyline. You've got this powerful Jedi prince, Leia, and she'll be like the savior. Maybe she goes and finds her brother,
Yeah, that's
trains
probably
him,
what would
and
have
then
happened.
they go after, they go find Kenobi, get Luke, take off, train. I mean, I think there's a good stories there too. Like I know there's a lot of these what ifs. It's hard to like, because we're so ingrained in these stories. But
We
I
love
think
our
this
canon.
idea, yeah, would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like the idea of it, but the only thing I'd have changed on that is I'd have just got rid of the word instead and trained Leah and Luke.
Mm.
I know a lot of the actors didn't want to do another movie, but I think there's a chance there for another movie. And again, you imagine if Luke had told Yoda about Leah or vice versa or whatever, and obviously Endor was happening to an extent, and Luke had got captured, and the only way to rescue Luke was for Leia to wield a lightsaber and go full rogue on it. And then you've got the countdown though
Oh.
of Finger getting blown up, Yavin getting blown up. But yeah, I'd like to see Leia rescue Luke, and I think going back in time, so to speak, and how it is now for more female heroes, Jedi wise, it'd have made perfect sense. Because obviously now there is a bit more of a push, I feel, for more female Jedi's than there is male, definitely. But yeah, what about you, Chris? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think if Leia was trained as a Jedi instead, then I think that leaves Luke kind of vulnerable to being captured by Vader. So I think that leads to like maybe Luke turning to the dark side, joining Vader, not learning from Yoda like to resist that dark side temptation. So, and then we could get like a Luke versus Leia
Mm-hmm.
scenario, very similar to like the Legends material, like Jaina
Yeah,
and Jason Solo, right? So
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That would have been pretty sweet. Any thoughts on that, Tay?
Well, I read all I love reading the books about Leia. So like I read the Bloodline book and I read the Leia novel for when she's younger, and like she's already like training, like climbing mountains and doing all this stuff when she's like really young actually. And she did like swordsmith training and like all this stuff for her to be the queen of Alderaan. So, and she's very smart, um, and she's mature for her age, as we even see in the Obi-Wan show. She like totally talks up her lame cousin. So I think that if Leia was taken to be a Jedi, I think she would have been so much more powerful than Luke. And like I don't even want to say that, like I know there's so many Luke lovers out there, but I honestly believe that Leia would have been an amazing Jedi. And I think she would have definitely sought out Luke and trained Luke. And I don't know, I think she could have been a lot better
Definitely wiser.
for Luke. Yeah, definitely
yeah,
wiser, just more mature. She just thinks things through better. I think she's smarter than Luke. Like, I'm sorry to say it, but I think she is like, really, she was doing like diplomatic school when Luke is like 14 playing with a ship. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and Leia's in
Well,
like the junior diplomat stuff when she's like 8 years old. So,
that's nature versus nurture too, though. I mean, you're
yeah,
looking at
yeah,
scenarios. She's being
yeah,
raised to be a queen. He's being
in a
raised to
castle with
be
servants.
a moisture farmer. So it's like, given that, like, what happens if Luke and Leia are switched and Leia is with, you know, on Tatooine, and Luke is being raised to be the prince or the king of Alderaan? Like, do we say
yeah.
the
Yeah.
exact opposite? So, I guess that's the teacher in me coming out. I apologize.
And she floated in space.
yeah.
Oh God, Mary Poppins.
What else we got for me?
We got a High Republic one, so Jack's gonna love this question. Um, don't worry, it's phase one, Jack. What if Floating Greatstorm had escaped the leveler? We have two here. I guess you just kind of kickstart some of the stuff that's happening in phase three sooner because he gets away from him. I don't think that the Jedi can survive the effects of the Nameless, though. It seems like it takes its toll on them, and just even if they're
Mhm.
far away, it kind of you know destroys them.
I
But he
don't
would have
think
been
there'd
able
be
to
much
give them
left
more
of him, would
information.
there?
What's that?
I don't think there'd be much left of him. I think he'd just be a blubbering mess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of like Aslan Rowe, or
Yeah. Um, well, like I think he would have been able to get away, and then he would have said like Mari Centeca is like on the
Hmm.
ship sooner, right? Like, but I guess they already kind of knew. Did they know she was there already?
she's been. They thought she was kidnapped and dead. The families, the
Yeah,
Santecas, don't know where she's at. Like she disappeared, and they thought she was kidnapped and is given up for dead. But because of her connection to the Force, she's lived so long.
yeah, and they've got all the top medical people like keeping her alive. Like it's like sick, actually.
Yeah, you feel kind of bad for her in those books.
Yeah, right? The Nile are a bunch
So,
of monsters. God.
Oh yeah,
They're like being nice to her and electrocuting her and keeping her alive. Like, ugh. Sorry,
yeah.
Christopher. You probably have no idea what we're
That's
talking
okay.
about.
Nope.
But
I was thinking I gotta get into the High Republic stuff because
the High Republic is a huge commitment.
It's good. There's
yeah,
books that'll stop you in your
books and
tracks.
the
I think.
comes and everything, right?
Yeah, it
yeah,
Yeah,
all
I
it's
like
like so
I
much
like how they're
different
tying. I
content.
like I like how it's all tied in too. So that's good.
Yeah, it's like one big story with all these different mediums telling the same story. So it's like it's actually really, really
Yeah.
cool. But yeah. So if he
awesome.
had
So thank
escaped
you
the
again.
leveler.
Thank you again to all the explorers for all your comments and that. Again, apologies for those that we didn't get to read out. Keep sending them in. What we're going to do now then is some of us have got some scenarios to go through. Mido obviously stolen mine. We're going to come straight to Taylor first, and we're going to end with Chris last because I know he's got an interesting one. So Taylor, what is your what if scenario?
Mine, actually, Jimmy just kind of stole it 5 seconds ago. But mine was, what if Leia and Luke were switched at childbirth? So what if Brea came up and said, we've we've been wanting to adopt a son, right? And they took Luke, and Leia went to Tatooine. So yeah, that was mine. And I just pictured Luke walking around with like crown on his head and just being like this big like spoiled brat. I don't know why I'm picturing Luke being just this big spoiled brat, and then Leia just being pretty much Rey, as you know.
Yeah.
So her going on adventures and stuff like that, because she's really adventurous when she's a kid in the Obi-Wan TV series as well. So that was mine, and it kind of just goes right back into Mito's thing. Like, I think that Leia would have been an amazing Jedi, and I don't think Luke would have been like the diplomat that she is, and I just can't see Luke being like
No.
Yeah.
a general, like, you know what I mean? Like, but you're right, nature versus nurture, so you never actually know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Would Luke
see.
still be as whiny though?
Mm.
Yeah.
I think he would, because he'd be extra spoiled, right?
Yeah.
I,
What do you
I
reckon,
don't
Jimmy?
know. The Organas seem like pretty cool parents. Like they,
They
from the
are.
stuff we saw, I mean, obviously, shows and stuff like that, but involved in their kids' lives, trying to. I don't think they would have let him be a spoiled brat. Like they would have been like, "This is how it's going to be." They'd had him training with their military or something. Like
Hmm.
I don't feel like the Organas would have let him behave that way. And I see
Yeah.
Leia being trained as a young Jedi by Obi-Wan in secret on Tatooine because of her adventurous spirit. There's no way they're keeping that girl on a moisture farm.
Yeah.
Um,
No.
and her curiosity and all that kind of stuff. She's out there. She's seeking Obi-Wan Kenobi out, um, and she's getting trained in secret, and that changes things. Those Obi-Wan and
Hmm.
uh, Leia get picked up by someone else. Luke's coming in on the Tantive 4. He finds Obi-Wan. There's his sister who's butt kicking Jedi. He's like, I want to be like her, and we kind of go back
Yeah.
to that scenario. It seems like we keep coming back to that idea of all these kind of lead into Luke and Leia working together. And so yeah, that's how I guess I see that one if they got flip flopped because their
Yeah.
personalities.
Cool, right, Jimmy, what's your what if scenario?
Well, mine is just what if Leia had made it to Kenobi herself. How does that change the story? But I think we've covered it like 47 times this episode. So I mean, unless someone has something else they want to. But my question is though, do they leave Luke? Because that was always one thing that people like. Do they just leave Luke and go, or is like Kenobi's like, "Now we gotta go get this kid," and she's like, "No, no, no, we ain't got time." Then he has to tell her like, "Hey, this is your twin brother. We got to go get him." So
That's
they go
probably
there.
what. Be like,
Does it
oh,
pull
fine.
Vader in? I know Vader hates sand, but he's like, "What the heck?" But yeah, that
Yeah.
was always mine. Is what happens if Leia made it to Tatooine herself and found Kenobi? So
Um,
I'll let you guys discuss.
I
well,
don't
as we know, Leia already knows Obi-Wan, so it'd be like reuniting them. Like, oh, because they already kind of have that connection from the Obi-Wan series, right? Like, as we
Yep.
know,
Mhm.
Leia names her son Ben, like probably after this whole experience in the Kenobi series. So they're already friends. She already knows him. She knows exactly his like force abilities and where he's come from, really, because she kind of watched him grow, right, when she was younger, and so, uh, yeah, I don't know.
What about you, Chris? What do you reckon?
Yeah. I mean, I I think it would definitely be different. Like I don't know if I don't know if would they seek out Luke after
Well, that's
because
like the
like
whole reason that Obi-Wan's
Leia.
there, so they have to. He can't just
Yeah.
leave
So like
him. Yeah,
yeah, I guess so. I guess he would still yeah, but
it's
or he
hard.
would leave him and Leia would go on an adventure with Obi Wan, go on another Leia and Ben adventure, just like the old days.
There
Interesting.
is another on Tatooine.
Yeah. Everyone wants to go back to Tatooine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So, Chris, let's hear your what if scenario.
So my what if scenario was what if Jar Jar didn't run into Qui Gon Jinn in like the first 5 minutes of Phantom Menacer, because that would change a lot of things. Like Qui Gon and Obi Wan trying to get to Theed, they're stuck in the middle of the swamp there. Like they're not going to know to go to this underwater city at all.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like they wouldn't have the reinforcements. Like say somehow they did get to Theed eventually and take the queen off of Naboo, they wouldn't have the reinforcements to fight the army of battle droids, right? So it's a
Yeah.
big like
Yeah, that's a
what
good
if
point.
scenario, right?
And
So
as well in Attack of the not Attack of the Clones, in the Clone Wars as well, I think he prevents quite a few wars.
yeah,
Somehow.
Yeah, I know he goes on that little mission with Mace Windu as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
So it does have quite a big impact.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the Emperor would definitely have to find a different like puppet to trick because
yeah,
they use him, right, when Padme is gone. So
That
I don't
is.
know, he'd try to have to work his way into like the handmaidens or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jar Jar would
Uh,
have died at the beginning of Phantom Menace without Qui Gon. He probably would have gotten run over,
Morning,
yeah,
Christine
killed by that.
Munching.
But he's out,
Splat.
yeah.
and then you had to think about where how did Qui Gon and Obi Wan get to, um, the capital, and how that all works
They'd
out.
have to call
Oh
for like
yeah.
a pickup, so somebody else would like County Monday would have to come and like get
Well,
them
they
or
were being
something.
jammed though, so they wouldn't have been able to. Right, they
No,
were jamming there. Man, that's. You think about all the little things he does and all the mistakes he makes that actually help save people
yeah,
too. Like a lot of
Yeah.
people are going to die because Jar Jar is not there to like
it's
yeah,
be a knucklehead
true.
and clumsy and actually saving people by accident half the time. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, what does
that's a good one.
George Lucas say? He says that Jar Jar is the key to everything, right?
Nice.
George Lucas loved Jar Jar. Just
Yeah.
by the way.
Okay, the last one we'll finish up on, and we'll put this one out to the explorers as well. And all we
Mm.
want is a yes or a no answer from you guys. So what I've been thinking of is, would Star Wars, okay, what if it had been released in order from 1, 2, 3 all the way on? Would it have been as popular? Yes or no? We'll start with you, Taylor. Yes or no?
Oh, way to throw me on the spot. Um, I feel like it would have confused a lot of people because when the originals came out, there wasn't quite as much, like space cities, world city planets, and like space speeders. And I feel like a Phantom Menace and the prequels just had a lot of super futuristic stuff that would have just been like overly mind blowing for people in 1977. So if we're gonna say that they did come out in order at the same time frame, um, I think it would have just shocked people a little bit too much, a
So
bit too
yes or no?
confusing. Oh my god. What was it? Yes or no to what? Would Star Wars still be the
Would it be as
same?
popular if it was released
Oh
in that order?
no, I don't think it would. If it came out in order, I
No.
don't think it would be as popular.
Chris, what do you reckon?
yeah. I'm gonna say no as well, just because the original trilogy with what George did with that, he kind of took from current events that were happening in the world at the time, right? And
Yeah, war
with all
and
the political stuff that's in the Phantom Menace, it wouldn't have been like the right movie for that time
right.
period. Like the New Hope was kind of just an escape, like oh, someone's going on an adventure. There were little to no politics in that movie,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't think it would have came off the same way.
Jimmy?
Agreed.
I'm going to say no as well because I think that the Phantom Menace would have fallen in line with too much with what was already out there as far as sci-fi movies were all clean and like you know one of the biggest complaints is like how they go back to that. I think that it would have just kind of fallen in line with the rest of the sci-fi that was being released at the time, and that
Yeah.
doesn't have the effect or the grab that how new, even though it looked old, how new Star Wars: A New Hope was for fans in the theaters.
Yeah.
Mm.
We've talked to a couple of people who actually saw it in theaters, and when this movie came out in 1977, it was such a shock because the cantina scene was amazing because you never seen anything like this. You've never seen so many different kinds of aliens, this kind of music. these like the lightsaber, like a light sword, like
Yeah.
what is that? So my dad said it was just like mind blowing when he saw it in the theaters when he was a kid.
Jack,
Yeah.
your question, your answer.
Definitely the same. Not because of like any of the special effects, but like Taylor was saying there, it's you don't know the punchlines of Vader and stuff like that. I think the biggest thing for Star Wars was the whole Vader scene. That's so like iconic. And then obviously after that, you Return of the Jedi. You get the snippets of Leia being his sister. You know, the Death Star. There's another Death Star made. You know,
Mhm.
little things like that. So yeah, definitely not a chance. Wouldn't be as popular. So yeah, no. Awesome. Okay, as always, then, I'd like to thank you all for listening. As always, a big thank you to you, Chris. Again, super appreciate your time, mate. If you want to let
Yeah,
the
thanks for
listeners
having
know
me on,
again
guys.
where they can catch you.
Yeah, so you can check me out on my YouTube channel, Seriously Star Wars. I do weekly Star Wars reviews and Star Wars Fan Battle live every weekend. And
Woohoo.
on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter or X, I'm Seriously SW. So you can follow me on there as well. But thanks for having me on as well. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Make sure you tune in next year to see me batter Jimmy, hopefully in the quiz.
We're going on different weekends.
Oh damn it! We'll get the same weekend at some point.
All right.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm just
Cool.
really
That's it.
bad on the plate on this, like being asked questions like right on the flat. Like I'm terrible at that, so I just make a fool of myself.
Well, we've made 32 episodes of it, Taylor, so we're not doing too bad.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh,
We're all right. So as always, again, thank you to all the listeners. Make sure you drop any feedback, comments, and all the good stuff at Explore the Force on Facebook, Twitter, Threads, TikTok, YouTube, and as always, join us on Facebook and join the group as we do have a very active chat on there. So as always, then from yourself, Taylor,
For light and life.
from me, you can't stop change any more than you can stop the suns from setting. From Chris,
May the Force be with you.
yeah, classic.
Yeah.
And for all of us, thanks again. Go check out Chris's Seriously Star Wars. We watched it this
Yeah.
afternoon. It was awesome. We have spoken. We'll see you guys next week.